All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is August 8th, 8/8. Happy Tuesday to everyone out there. We got a full MLB slate to jump into today and a doubleheader to talk about. But as always, we're going to go through each and every game. I'm going to give you my lean or leans on the games, but all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If you do want to fade me, those plays will be in the pinned comment. Yesterday, if you did fade me, you did end up just marginally profitable there because we end up going 2 and 3. Twins and Shohei Ohtani are the only two that cash for us here. Marlins, Cubs, and Yankees all don't look very good, so that one is on us. It has been a rough August as of late, but you guys have been super supportive, honestly, so thank you very much for that. In terms of a brighter note here, we do hit our ride of the day coming in from J Rock here. He had Kim of the Padres over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. I think he had 1 run, 2 hits, if I'm not mistaken, so cashed it fairly easily. So we'll take the cash. If you guys do want to be the ride of the day, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Give me an absolute banger of the pick. I'm putting my money where your mouth is, and I'm riding with one of you guys in the comments. And you get a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, you get the crowd noise. You get the cha-ching. We celebrate it. If you lose, you gotta face the womp womp, all right? So make sure to enter at your own risk, but use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Before we do get into the slate, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. You guys have been killing it as of late, even though we're just kind of like middling our picks, you know, 2 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 2, 2 and 1, 1 and 2. Like, we're just kind of an average Joe right now, but you know what? We don't wear a hat that says fade me for no reason. We gotta trust the process. We will get there, but this has been a little bit of a stretch where it's like, yikes, what are we doing here, right? The books are coming after them and we got bad things going on. But in reality, guys, stick true to your guns, stick to your system. If you're profitable in the long term, you got to trust yourself even in the darkest of times. You're going to have good days, bad days. Don't get too low, don't get too high. I've said that before, but let's go ahead and jump into the first game here. We got game number 1 of this doubleheader. We got the Phillies taking on the Nationals, and you guys know I got like a little doubleheader phobia. I don't know why I don't like doubleheaders, but this is a spot that I could actually see working out in our favor. Looking at the Phillies on the run line here in game number 1, only because Zach Wheeler is on the mound. And Zach Wheeler, I don't want to like blow too much smoke up his ass here, but he's one of the most underrated pitchers in my opinion out there. He's been crushing it as of late too. He's got a 1.83 ERA over his last 3 and a 0.81 whip, yet they're still not winning games. Like, they're 1 and 2, the Phillies are, in his last 3 starts, in which he is pitching deep into games, over 6 innings, allowing 1 run, 1 run, and then 2 earned runs in his last 3 starts here. The guy is pitching well, and I like him today. So I'm going to back the Phillies in this spot. The problem is they're minus 290 in game number 1, so we can't really look at them on the money, obviously. So I am going to be taking a peek at that run line for minus 128. I like Zach Wheeler. We don't know exactly who's pitching for Washington. I think Josiah Gray is probable for both, if I'm not mistaken. We're up early, so they have not listed their exact starters for these games, but as of right now, Zach Wheeler is the starter in game number 1, and then game number 2 you have Ranger Suarez, who even in yesterday when we broke down that matchup, right, I was like fading Ranger Suarez. So you know, I like the fact that we're looking at Zach Wheeler in game number 1, because when it comes to doubleheaders, I'm really only going to consider the first game, even if that, because I do feel like doubleheaders kind of throw a wrench into the standard operating procedure. Okay, but give me the Phillies on the run line. In terms of the total, I like the over, but it kind of contradicts me thinking that Zach Wheeler is going to go out there and have a good game, right? So I slightly lean towards the over in a vacuum, independently of my money line lean. But if anything's going to become my run line lean, if anything's going to become a final play, I do think it's going to be Phillies minus 1.5 here on the run line. They've done that 2 straight games here as favorites on the run line, and they've done it in 5 of their last 7 games. So I do like the way that they're playing. All right, Cincinnati taking on Miami. We were on the Marlins yesterday. I don't know why. Both these teams have been such trash teams as of late, and someone had to win, right? And it ends up being Cincinnati 5-2. I looked and it was like the 3rd inning. Miami was up 2-0. I was like, okay, we might pull this one out. No. But you can't really trust either one of these teams right now, especially with Luke Weaver on the mound for Cincinnati, and now Braxton Garrett, who I don't want to say has been like terrible, but he really hasn't been all that great. Not necessarily this season, but as of late, a 5.8 ERA and a 1.5 WHIP in his last 3 years. So I don't even know which pitcher to trust in this spot. And the fact that you're looking at their splits here, Cincinnati versus lefties on the year, 260 average, which isn't all that bad, right? But in their last 5 here, they're batting 139 against lefties. So I'm going to trust to some degree the trend that we have right now and leans towards Miami, but after last night, after how much back and forth there is in the analytics and data in this game, I doubt this becomes a final play. The only thing that I might consider here is going to be the under 10.5, and that might not even become a final play because, like I said, both these pitchers letting up a lot of runs as of late, but 10.5 is still a large number for the way that these offenses have been playing. Miami has a couple big scoring games in their last 10, but other than that, it's like 2 to 3 runs. Same exact thing for Cincinnati. So if anything is going to be a true final play in this game, there's a slight chance that's going to be the under. But I'm going to lean Miami just because I think both these teams absolutely stink right now. We'll see who kind of gets their head above water first. But, you know, Miami probably wins the second game of the series because Cincinnati won the first, that type of thing. Until we see consistency out of these teams, I don't think that there's any real true edge or value in plucking at this series. So give me the under if anything in this game. And by the way, that actually, now that I say that, like, that is the value. Picking spots that are worth it and picking spots that aren't worth it is like half, I shouldn't say half, but like that's a huge piece of sports betting. Not forcing something, realizing when two teams are just volatile as, you know, as all hell, you don't need to go and find an edge in that game. So it's almost like a win in and of itself for your pockets to say, you know what, we don't need to involve ourselves in that game. It's almost like you see like a street fight, right? You're not going to run over there and be like, hey, what's going on, guys? Maybe I do. I've gotten so many questions about what's going on with my face, and I've talked about it, so you guys got to dig and find it. But guys, yeah, again, we're kind of fading this game altogether. All right, we get the Tigers taking on the Twins here. Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound for Detroit, going up against Sonny Gray of Minnesota here. And that is the only reason why we have a pretty close odded out game here in terms of what we're looking at for the odds. Tigers right now plus 106 on the money line at home. Twins minus 118. Twins did cash for us yesterday. In terms of what we're looking at, though, like I said, we have a pretty close game where the odds are spelled out for us. And that's because Eduardo Rodriguez is on the mound. He has been pitching fairly well, and he is obviously the best at that Tigers offense, right? The Tigers bull. I almost said the Tigers offense. Then I almost said the Tigers bullpen. The Tigers pitching staff and rotation have to offer. He is the best there, but he hasn't been all that great as of late. And he hasn't been all that great since coming back either. So I am going to take a peek at Sonny Gray here and the Twins in this spot for minus 118 odds. They are the better team. I don't care if Eduardo Rodriguez. I do like him, right? I talk about him pretty highly on the channel. I don't care if he's going to make these odds more fair, right? Fine, then we'll capitalize on. Still going to look at a Twins team that has won 6 of their last 7 games here. Tigers been super inconsistent, but the Twins in their last 5 games, or last 10 games actually, batting over 300 against lefties, averaging 7 runs per 9. So give me them, averaging over a home run per game as well. So maybe they get to him today with a big ball. Give me the Twins on the money line. Trusting Sonny Gray and the Twins, not necessarily fading Eduardo Rodriguez, but backing the Twins and fading the rest of the Tigers team because I do like Eduardo, but not today. We'll take the Twins on the money line. Total sitting at 8. This is where I could consider a decent spot for both these pitchers to step up and kind of call for an under here. We haven't seen either one of these pitchers pitched against one another this season, or not one another, but even this team. I think Sonny Gray may have pitched against the Tigers really crappily earlier in the year, but nonetheless, we haven't seen them go up against one another. When they do, we've had very, very low scoring games. So take that for what it's worth as well. Maybe these guys get a little juice to play against each other. All right, we have Tampa Bay taking on St. Louis here. St. Louis only winning 3 of their last 10 games. Those 3 have come in their last 7, but still under 500 in their last 7 here. Tampa Bay finally starting to turn it around here. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. They had to fight through the Astros. They did win that series. They had to fight through the Yankees. They win that series. They take 2 of 3 against Detroit. They have Zach Eflin on the mound today, who's been good as of late. He has 1 or 2 bad starts in his last 5, but other than that, the guy does usually tend to deal. He pitches he'll give you 5+ innings, which is good to see. Going up against Miles Mikolas, who has been good and bad. Like, there's really in my opinion, no in between from this guy. He's either the reason why the Cardinals seem to stay in games or why they absolutely lose a game. Example being the last couple games here when the Cubs beat them 10-3. He only pitched is that the game he got ejected? He looked like he was good, right? He's out of the game. Boom. Cubs just capitalize. He gets ejected. Then he comes back and pitches 7 innings, only 2 earned runs on 7 strikeouts, and yet the Cardinals still don't pull it through. He did his part. Like, he either looks good or bad, but in this spot here, you gotta see the Rays being able to capitalize. They are minus 166 right now, which is just about at the end of the road of the juice that I would pay to see them come through and win this game. But I do think the Rays are starting to walk it back and become one of those better powerhouse teams again, even though they've struggled as of late. I like the over as well in this game, even though, like I said, if Mikolas goes out there and pitches well, it's going to be tough because he does suppress offenses when he's on, but when he's not, he's going to allow plenty of runs. And then Eflin on the mound for Tampa Bay. Maybe we see a game in which he allows a decent amount of runs because you do have two offenses that are batting righties well in their last 5 years, especially St. Louis batting .294. So give me the over in this game, but I like the Rays money line as my main lean in this one. Again, all I'm hoping for is Miles Mikolas, which 30% of the time, the guy looks pretty damn good. Other than that, he's going to kind of go out there and just throw the ball and let the batters hit it, which is not intended, if you are a pitcher. All right, guys, we've got a special little promo going on the Fade Me store today. We've done it before, and you guys do love this one, but head over to fademe.store and check out some of the products we have over there and support the movement that we are causing here and support the community. But the promo that we're doing, there's no discount or anything like that, but if you do place an order today, at the end of the day, I'm going to be picking one order and refunding it completely, so you get your order entirely for free. Obviously, a refund, you just get your money back. You get the order still, and you get the product, so head over there, fademe.store. I will obviously email you and let you know that you did win, so you don't just see these weird, like, I paid for something, then got my money back, because I get your email through the order anyway. So make sure to go check it out, guys. Fademe.store. I'll put that link in the pinned comment as well. But yeah, definitely a good chance for you to get your money refunded. It's not like we're getting millions of orders a day. You know what I mean? So I can be transparent with that. The brand's been successful so far, but it's not turning into the next Nike anytime soon. So make sure to go drop an order, guys. It is a great way to support, and this is a little bit of a way of me, I guess giving back, being able to say, hey, thank you for placing your order. Even if there's 2 orders today, I'm not making money on that if I refund one of those, right? But I will pick one of them at random and refund. So make sure to check out the Fade Me store, guys. You can use the link in the pinned comment. Yeah, definitely a good way to support the channel. Let's get back to the slate. All right, we got Pittsburgh taking on Atlanta here. Pittsburgh gets the win yesterday. Shockingly, they were absolute underdogs, plus 270. Atlanta was in the minus 300s for that. And I do want to give a shout out real quick because this was a great call. Good night, Munchie on the channel, who has been absolutely on fire when entering the ride of the days. We haven't ridden with one in a while here, but we got to soon because he called Pittsburgh money line. I think either for his 5th or 6th straight win in the comments. So shout out to you. It's not an official ride of the day shout out, but the dude called Pittsburgh money line and said, trust it, guys. Everyone was like, oh, no way, you idiot, you idiot, you idiot. And then all of a sudden the comments switched to holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, how'd you know? So shout out to him there. Big old win. I want to give that shout. It's not an official ride of the day shout out, but definitely well worth it. However, in today's game, I do think you got to lean towards Atlanta in a bounce back spot. You do have Yoni Chirinos going for the Braves, who I don't want to back the dude, okay? But I am backing the Atlanta offense up against Mitch Keller, who has the name, has the talent, but has been pitching just as well as that sounds. The guy has just not been pitching well. So until further notice, Mitch Keller is not a guy that I'm willing to ride with. And obviously this Braves team is so good. And in going up against righties in their last 10 games here, batting almost 320 for average, 9 hits per game, and 8.3 runs per 9. So give me the Braves in a bounce back spot here because, they have the worst pitcher in terms of name. I do think you have fair odds at minus 160. Remember, yesterday, the Braves, they did have Spencer Strider, so it's a little bit different, minus 306. So big old odd discrepancy there from yesterday to today. But give me the Braves on the money line. And then in terms of the total, 9.5, I do think the Braves are going to get to Keller. I think they're going to score a lot of runs. Can they go out there and put, 6, 7 up? Yeah, so I'm going to lean towards the over. I got to trust that this Pittsburgh team continues to, score their average runs, which just like yesterday, if these two teams kind of go out there and do what they've done all season long, we could see an over, much in thanks to the fact that the Braves are going to score a bunch of runs on average. All right, Baltimore taking on Houston. Baltimore coming off of a nice little sweep against the Mets. They also won their last series against Toronto, and then before that, they won their series against the Yankees. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. Houston's still obviously looking positive in their last 10 here. They won, or no, I guess they split their series against the Yankees, but won the last 2 of 3, so kind of probably felt like a 3-game series win for them. They are minus 130 on the money line today, and that's the direction I'm leaning in just because they do have Framber Valdez out there, which he looked decent in his last start, I guess you could say. 9 innings pitched, yeah, you know what? looked pretty good. We'll say that. We'll drop it there instead of hyping the guy up all that much before I jinx myself here talking about no hitters and you know, no runs and that type of thing. But other than that start, he hasn't looked all that good. So I do think that that's why we have some decent odds here. You have Baltimore playing really good baseball. Valdez on the mound coming off of an amazing start, right? So I like the spot. I like the odds. Minus 130 for Houston. The only thing that worries me is the fact that Baltimore has been so good as of late. And, you know, Baltimore going up against righties has not, or excuse me, Houston going up against righties has not been their forte in their last few games here. Batting 235 in their last 10. But again, I'm trusting the pitching here. Grayson Rodriguez has the ball for Baltimore. And I think I've talked about him on the channel plenty of times before. That guy's a fade machine for me. If at the very least, I just don't like betting Baltimore when he is on the mound. You never really know what you're going to get. He has a couple good starts this season, but it's more often than not going to be a bad start. So though Houston hasn't been batting righties all that much, you got to trust the hotter pitcher and the better pitcher, right? We know how good this guy is. And an offense that it doesn't matter if they haven't been batting righties well. Like I'm saying, they could go off against a guy like Grayson Rodriguez that does get hit around all, pretty often, right? So give me Houston on the money line here. In terms of the total 8, I think that is a very low number as well. Like I said, Framber Valdez coming off a great start against Cleveland, but starts before that weren't all that great. So if we see both these pitchers get knocked around a little bit, we could see this over look really good by like the 4th inning. So I'm gonna lean towards the over as well. And by the way, we have to say it, we're backing a guy that threw a no-hitter. I don't want to jinx it. I feel like if I say it, he's going to go out there and get shelled today. But Framber Valdez coming off of an absolute gem of a game, a no-hitter. Do it again, buddy. Come on. We're probably jinxing the hell out of it. We got to say it. We got to get pumped for the guy. I wanted to keep it kind of like nonchalant, like, oh, coming off of a good start. Dude went off last game. Just do it again and we win this one. Next up, we got the Mets taking on the Cubs here. Mets don't, let you last night here. We had the Cubs on the money line. They lose 11-2. So shout out to the Mets for kind of going off. I'll give credit where it's due. James Talon on the mound here for the Cubs. The Cubs are 5-0 in his last 5 starts. He's got a 1.4 ERA over that stretch, and he has been pitching really well. And then you have Carlos Carrasco on the other side of things, which makes this a pretty easy lean in my brain. I'm leaning towards the Cubs in this one. Going up against a righty here. They've batted okay against righties in their last few games. You extrapolate it out to their last 10 games, batting near 300, so that's good, but as of the last 5, they haven't been as hot. But I'm trusting the pitching here, fading Carrasco, backing Talon, Tyon, however you want to look at it, but he's got a 2.16 ERA in his last 3 with a 1.38 whip. But like I said, in his last 5, so even bigger sample size here, a 1.4 whip and a 5-0 record for the team during his start. So give me the Cubs on the money line. Total sitting at 9.5. We saw an 11-2 game yesterday. I don't think that, the Mets are going to go out there and be able to score that many runs again. Now, the Cubs, their offense has been playing fairly well, but I'm still going to lean towards the under. I could see this one being more of like a 5-3 type of a ball game where the Cubs command it and win it, but we don't see it go up and over into double digits. All right, Guardians taking on the Blue Jays. Blue Jays get the win yesterday, and I got to lean towards Blue Jays again today for one reason and one reason only. We'll talk about the pitching first, but I have one reason why I'm looking at the Blue Jays here. So Tanner Beebe on the mound for Cleveland. He's got a 1.6 ERA in his last 5, and that's with a couple decent sized run allotments too, but he's pitching deep into games, which obviously helps that ERA. If he's going to let up 3 runs and pitch 7+ innings, that's pretty damn good. Going up against Kikichi here for Toronto, the Blue Jays are 4-1 in his last 5 starts. He's got a 2.4 ERA, and if you look at his ERA in his last 3, looks even better at 1.04. The reason that I am leaning towards Toronto here and has a chance of being a final play is the fact that the Guardians here just have not been able to, one, play good baseball, right? Like, first and foremost. The real reason is they just cannot bat lefties in their last 5 years. And honestly, over the last season here, about 220 on the season. You're like, okay, that's pretty bad, right? But if you look at it, last 10, I can't even say this, 0.071 average. I don't even know how to say that. It's 71 average. That's ridiculous. 71 average against lefties in their last 10. In their last 5, a 97 average. Batting under 100 against lefties. We talked about their offense yesterday as well, and just how crazy it was, some of the runs that they're scored. They're averaging less than 1 run per 9 against lefties in their last 10, and less than 1 hit per game against lefties. So it is just like, gotta fade them right now until proven otherwise. We got a bunch of, I don't know what happened. We got 2 or 3, I said a bunch, but like 3 comments yesterday being like, why does this dude always lean towards the Guardians? I literally in the video, watch it back, leaned the Blue Jays yesterday. So that was a very confusing. I responded to those being like, I didn't lean Guardians, did I? I had to watch it back. I was like, no, I didn't think so. But sometimes I misspeak and just switch up the team names. Didn't even do it then, but I'm not leaning Guardians today, guys. I'm not, and I don't think I do lean Guardians all that much. I did at the beginning of the year, but today this is a Blue Jays spot here. -122. I will say I do like Tanner Beebe. He is the type of guy that could pull them out of this slump and maybe they win like a 2-1 game, right? But it's not worth backing that offense right now until further notice. So I'm leaning towards the Blue Jays all day long. Total sitting at 8. I like the Blue Jays to score a decent amount of runs, but again, it's going to come down to that Cleveland offense, and I don't really see them being able to contribute or carry their weight again until proven otherwise. Like if they start to score a bunch of runs, okay, then we can be like, all right, I know that, you know, for the last 15 games they've stunk, but you know, for the last 4 they've kind of scored a bunch of runs. No, this Cleveland team just isn't even doing that. So give me the under 8 in this one. I doubt that becomes a final play though. If anything, Toronto money line is going to be the play here. And before we do move on to the next game, we'll do this again, I think. I don't know if we'll do the same thing every time, but if you're still watching right now at the 20-minute mark, I want you to comment your favorite player. It could be any sport, favorite player of all time that wore number 20. Yesterday we did this. Some people still just like to comment the number, and that's fine, guys. But you know, these little questions is the one that the way that we can really suss out who the OGs are and who the guppies are. Because if you just comment the number, you could be looking in the comments and just commenting the number everyone else is commenting, right? But the real ones will listen to the question. So you don't even need the number today. Just comment your favorite player that wore number 20, or the first name that came to mind, or the most obscure, or kind of like a throwback shout out. Yesterday was 16 and mine was Peja Stojakovic. Today I don't want to do it, but I gotta do it. 20 for Ray Allen. Even though he burned the Celtics, he was instrumental to that Celtics championship run there, and I am a massive Celtics fan if you guys didn't know. So I'm going with 20 Ray Allen, guys. Drop your favorite player to ever wear 20 in the comments down below. All right, Red Sox taking on the Royals, and I don't know if it's safe to say the Royals' run is over, but they have lost three straight games here. Red Sox beat them 6-2 yesterday. Brian Bayo goes over 6 innings, looks good. Cutter Crawford on the mound for Boston Teddy. He's been pitching really well as of late. Even in his last game here, he pitched 5 innings, no earned runs, and 5 Ks against Seattle here. Going up against Brady Singer, who I'm going to give Brady Singer credit. He's actually looked pretty good over his last 3 starts, but was that because the Royals were on a run and on a streak where the vibes are flying high, right? If the Royals run is over and they're going to get back to Royals baseball, I like the Red Sox today at -178. Yes, it's a lot of juice, but if you do end up rolling with it, I do think it has a good chance to hit. I don't hate them on the run line at -1.5 for +112 because I don't think the Royals are going to cover that if they lose, right? I think that they're going to get kind of stomped down like they normally do. Their last 3 losses here, again, 2 against Philly and the 1 game against the Red Sox so far, they've lost by 2 or more runs. So consider the Red Sox for plus money on the run line if you do like the Red Sox. Total is sitting at 10 here, and 78% of money using Outlier, guys. If you want the best sports betting research tool, use Outlier. That link is in the pinned comment. I talk about it all the time. I'm not going to, do a whole little segment on it today, but definitely go check it out. 7 days free for the Outlier tool. It's one of those apps that shows green bars and red bars and makes sports betting research super easy. Go check it out with that link in the description. But 78% of the money is on the over, and 67% of the money the bets, is on the under. So it's like the public wants the under. The sharps are looking at the over. Let's follow the money. Let's lean towards the over. I doubt it becomes a final play though. And I also will say, while you're down there clicking that link for Outlier, join the football survivor pool that we started. It's completely free for you to join. All you got to do is start an account on the website that we found, and I'm giving away $100 myself to the winner at the end of the NFL season. Super excited for the NFL season, guys, but go join that survivor pool. It's double elimination too, so you have 2 chances to lose. If you don't know what a survivor pool is, pretty simple. You pick a team to win flat out, no spread, no nothing, win every single week. You just can't pick the same team twice in the season. So if you use the Chiefs against team X, you can't use the Chiefs again. If you do lose, you're still in it because it's double elimination. If you lose twice, you're out. But guys, go check it out. That link is in the pinned comment as well. I just gave you a couple pinned comment plugs, making this probably very confusing if you're like clicking a bunch of things. But you know what? Why not click one more thing? If you're still watching, you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's click a bunch of stuff. Just start clicking randomly on the page, okay? Not the unsubscribe button. Don't click that. I know we leaned Colorado yesterday, but this game kind of just went about as expected, right? Like the Brewers just blew the doors off Colorado, who Colorado did win 2 of 3 against St. Louis, and maybe people were like, whoa, maybe they're turning it. No. They're just still not that great of a team, and they were huge underdogs, and it makes sense why. Again, I did lean Colorado for the value, but 12-1, kind of the Brewers like, hey, Ev, shut the you-know-what up. Today on the mound for Colorado is Kyle Freeland, who hasn't looked all that great as of late, going up against Wade Miley here. Wade Miley pitching decently. In his last 5 years, got a 1.4 ERA. They're 3-2 in his last 5 starts. Again, the problem is going to be that you are looking at a Milwaukee team that is so heavily juiced on the money line that you have to consider them on the run line, which, yeah, maybe they do it again. They did it yesterday. I don't really want to tempt fate here, but I lean Milwaukee for plus money on the run line. In terms of the total, 8.5, we saw a 12-1 game yesterday. Colorado not going to score that many runs, but I think Milwaukee can at least drop, maybe give you 4 or 5 here, which makes me like the over. But if anything is going to happen in this game in terms of a final play, I'm going to trust the better team, Milwaukee, trust the better pitcher, Wade Miley, and look at the Milwaukee Brewers here on the run line for some plus money. White Sox taking on the Yankees. Garrett Cole could not get the job done for us yesterday. He had a decent game, but Yankees ultimately end up losing 5-1 here, which is tough because I want to lean them again, but I'm a Red Sox fan. The Yankees burn me. You think I'm like, I'm rearing and ready to go and giving them another chance. I got to get rid of that personal bias because I do think that the Yankees go out there and win this game again today. But this White Sox team, they've won, I don't want to say quietly, but they've won 3 in a row. 2 of those games are against the Cleveland Guardians, who I might as well call them the Cleveland Schmardians right now because those dudes stink. But yeah, unfortunately, I am going to look at the Yankees here. Clark Schmidt going up against Toussaint. Tukey hasn't been all that great. He had one good start that I think kind of, made people think that he was going to look really, really good, but that was against the Guardians. Again, they're not really hitting anyone well as of right now, whereas Clark Schmidt has been fairly consistent, giving you, 5 innings pitched and allotting for maybe 2, maybe 3 runs, which I think the Yankees can handle today. He pitched against the White Sox earlier this year, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, only 1 strikeout, no walks though, so, I think he's going to have an average day, which it's on the Yankees offense to score more than 1 run like they did yesterday. So give me the Yankees on the money line, total sitting at 9 runs. This Chicago team, they've scored 7 runs, 5 runs, and 5 runs. If I think that they keep doing that, which I'm not necessarily sure they do, but I think their floor is probably somewhere around 4 right now, the way the offense has been going. If the Yankees can at least score more than 1 run like they did yesterday and get back to what they did even against Houston, where they scored 4, 3, 3, and then 7, I do think that this is a decent spot for an over to get to 10 runs. So I lean towards the over. That does have a decent chance of being a final play because I do think that, the Yankees scoring 1 run have a little bit of a bounce back offensive spot here, and it's not like Clark Schmidt is going to shut down this White Sox team. So I don't hate the over, but I do like the Yankees money line a little bit more than I do that. All right, it's not on the graphic, but we did just get a total and money line odds here for this game because we know the pitchers here. The Angels here on the money line are plus 104 over on FanDuel. Total is sitting at 8 runs right now. San Francisco gets the 8-3 win yesterday. Lucas Frozen Yogurt Gelato on the mound though for the Angels. In his first couple Angel starts, haven't looked all that great, but we are going to back him again today. Going up against Scott Alexander, who is obviously just an opener. This Giants team is just doing a bunch of that as of late, and it's kind of working for them. But this is a spot where I think you have the Angels. They're at home, and they've lost, 7 straight games, 8 of their last 10 as well. There's got to be some sort of a bounce back or, come out of or take the lid off type of a game. So give me the Angels here for plus money on the money line. They're plus money last night. They didn't get the job done, but they're going up against Logan Webb, who I think is obviously a better pitcher than just trusting the rest of this Giants bullpen, who I will say hasn't been, terrible, pitching well, 2.35 ERA with a 1.2 whip in their last 3 games here. But nonetheless, if you look at the available bullpen, so they're spending a lot of guys right now. The available bullpen who's expected to be able to pitch and available has a 4.9 ERA and a 1.3 whip. So when you're looking at these Giants games, if there's one piece of advice, and I'm not the big advice guy, right? I know I give my picks. Some people confuse that with some real advice because, guys, fade me, right? I talk about it. We're all trying to beat the books together here. I'm not claiming to be some sort of an expert, but this is obviously an observation and something that you should probably know. So it's not jaw dropping, but when a team is relying for say like 50 or more % of their starts on openers, going to the bullpen, having guys start for 1 or 2 and then having a guy pitch, 4 innings or so, that type of thing. Keep an eye on the available bullpen. A lot of teams, aren't going to have guys be available because they can't pitch so often. And that's the issue here for San Francisco, in my opinion. That's why I like the Angels. Their bullpen on the season has been good, but the available bullpen today, so the guys that they have on average don't look all that great today. So that's why I lean towards the Angels. I don't really have a play on the total. It is at 8 runs, but we saw an 8-3 game yesterday. Both these teams have had high scoring games, but are trending towards unders in their last 10. So I'm probably sticking away from the total today, but I do like the Angels on the money line. All right, Dodgers taking on Arizona. Dodgers get the win yesterday. They win 13-7, meaning they took 3 of 4 against that Padres team, that Padres team looked decent in plenty of those games, all but one of them, I want to say. Padres looked pretty good. Arizona coming off of getting swept a couple nights back by the Minnesota Twins here. Urias on the mound for the Dodgers, got a 2.6 ERA in his last 5, and they're 4-1 when he does get the start. Going up against Brandon Fadat, 3.6 ERA in his last 5 here, with a 1-4 record. Do you remember when we liked Fadat like a couple days ago in his last start? And I was like, I think he can do it. I think he's got it. He pitched 7 innings, 1 earned run, 7 Ks, and they still got the loss. So the day that we backed Arizona and Fadat, or fought, however you want to say his name, guys, I'm making jokes here. I do think that is kind of funny that, we back him for once. I talk about fade Fadat, and all of a sudden he goes out there and pitches well. But today, a little bit different. I have a feeling the Dodgers have to clean up this Arizona team. Arizona in their last 5 here, batting lefties well, which I'll give them credit, but if you go out to their last 10, not so well. So that 5-game stretch there has a big discrepancy. So 215 against lefties in the last 10. It does jump to 268 in their last 5, so I just kind of want to give you guys the context. But overall, if you're doing that, you're looking at the last 5 here of the Dodgers against righties, batting 325 against righties. So give me the Dodgers. They are the better team. You're getting minus 155 right now. And then in terms of the total, 9 runs. If the Dodgers can get to Arizona here, I do think that this is an easy over. But as of right now, the Dodgers have just been trending. It's going to sound so dumb. The Dodgers have been just trending too much towards the over. And at some point, there's going to be an obvious game where it seems like there's going to be an over and the under is going to cash, which this seems like the obvious spot for me. So I'm a little hesitant to pull sort of the square pick and the trigger on this being like, oh yeah, they're obviously going to score an over, right? Because so the Dodgers have covered this line 9 runs in 8 of their last 10 games. They've done it in 7 straight. The Diamondbacks have only gone over 9 runs in their games once in their last 10 games. Once in their last 10 games. So if there's going to be a game that, we think the Dodgers are going to go off and all that, I feel like this could be the low-scoring game. So do I fade myself? Do I fade myself right here? I'm going to do it. I'm going to lean towards the under in this one. Kind of crazy, but I'm doing it. We'll see if that becomes a final play, because that was a crazy person talking. You guys just witnessed that, but it kind of makes sense if you don't think about it and think about it at the same time. Next game before I dig myself into a hole here. All right, Oakland taking on Texas. Texas gets the win yesterday. They win 5-3, which is obviously kind of what we thought here. We're going to lean that way again. Texas minus 1.5 on the run line for minus 140. I wish it was plus money odds here. They have covered that in 6 of their last 7 games as run line favorites. So they haven't had the toughest strength of schedule. Oakland, Miami, Chicago. So it's like, yeah, obviously you're going to cover your run lines. But again, they're still playing Oakland. So if they're going to win, I do think that they win fairly big. You have Max Scherzer on the mound today, going up against JP Sears. So JP Sears pitching better than he was at the beginning of the year, but still obviously anyone on this Oakland team is pretty fadeable. But give me Max Scherzer here. He stepped up after that first inning. I think it was the first inning, right? Against the White Sox. We had Texas on the run line. They go down 3-0. And then the White Sox, or the Texas Rangers say, you know what? We got to support this dude in his first start for our team. They win that game. I think it was 5-3, something like that, right? 5-3 against the White Sox last time Scherzer started. So shout out to the Rangers for coming back in that game. I like it again today. Max Scherzer looked really good after that first inning, so let's hope that continues. Obviously, that's an offense that you can back until the cows come home as well. This Texas offense going up against a guy like Sears. So give me the White Sox. Give me the Rangers on the run line. In terms of the total, it's sitting at 8 right now. I like the over, but I don't necessarily know if the Athletics are going to carry their own weight. So give me the team total for Texas. If it's anywhere decent odds, right around that 4.5, I think that they can scrounge out 4.5 runs again in terms of a total play here. The only issue, it probably is going to be some tough odds because they've covered that one in like 6 or 7 straight games. So that's going to be tough to get good odds at over 4.5. All right, Seattle taking on San Diego, not on the graphic, but we do have odds here right now. Seattle minus 142 over on DK on the money line. Total sitting at 8.5 right now. And I'll tell you what, I liked Seattle here, but as the more and more I look into it, I got to trust the San Diego offense. So Seattle has Logan Gilbert on the mound. He's got a 2.6 ERA in his last 5. They're 5-0 in his last 5 starts here. Going up against Nick Martinez, who I don't really want to trust all that much. He's had a couple good starts. I think he only pitched a few innings last time he started, but nonetheless, he's got a 2.2 ERA over his last 5. But I kind of wanted to fade him originally and trust Logan Gilbert pitching decently, right? But what I'm actually going to end up rolling with, nothing on the money line here, but I'm going to look at the total here over 8.5. The Padres, like I said, I'm trusting that offense regardless of Gilbert's on the mound. And same thing for the Mariners here. The Mariners not playing too poorly against righties in their last 5 here, have that average right around that 250 mark, which isn't all that great, but getting a lot of guys on base, which I do think is fairly crucial. And in their last 10 here, each team averaging a home run or more in their last 10 against righty pitchers. So if we can get 2 home runs out there, that could result in at least 2 or more runs here. That kind of kickstarts us towards an over. So give me the over 8.5 in this one. It's probably my favorite spot in this game. Again, my initial sort of vibe on this game, or what I started to dig into, was going to be Seattle on the money line because they're playing really good baseball. That still could have a chance to be the final play, but I think the over 8.5 is going to be my main lean here. But yeah, Seattle's playing good baseball. They've won 5 straight games here. They've won 8 of their last 10. Like, I want to give credit where it's due, but I like the over a lot more than I do the money line after looking into the game for more and more. And that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Make sure to check out the Fade Me store. I've been appreciating the hell out of the support. And if you've made it this far into the video, just go browse the store. If you've made it this far into the video, you are a true OG. And I tip my cap to you, honestly, guys. And again, we're refunding 1 order today, so it's a good time to consider buying. But I'll catch you guys in the next video, all right? Peace out.